But they showed this, and I figured I'd give it a try when I first got it home, and when I got a chance to, so I filled it up, and I took and went to roll it around like they were doing, and sure enough, Pappy got his feet wet from from pouring it out of the top. So hey, it's worth it. Good test. Don't try this at home. Should put a disclaimer on it. So here's the air inlet. Of course, the seal for that is at the back of the heat and humidity unit itself. You push this in, it engages. You'll feel it. You'll be able to close the cover down when it's fully engaged, and that's a good thing there. Now, it took me a full 2 nights to figure out how to open this thing up. One other tip is don't fill it through the top. Okay, because if you're filling it through the top, you're going to get wet again. Or at least Pappy got wet again. So, hey, there's a nice big hole here. I mean, I wish they would have put some silk screening outside. Don't fill here. Remove top before, whatever. But they didn't. So remember to take the cover off. What happens is it gets down this tube, and it gets down into this end of the tube, and then it comes out, this end of the air inlet. And it runs water out. Do that if you overfill it too, but for the most part, don't fill it with the top on. Take the top off. Now, it took me 2 nights to figure out how to do this. The actual manual, I'm sure it's sitting on a desk at my home equipment provider. So I had to go look up the manual online. And before I did it, I finally played around with it enough to figure out how to get the top off. So there's no hooks on the front to release it. It does on the back side have these clips for retaining it. So here's what you do: is you get your finger in the center, and this is the front side of it. This is the back side of it. So, and right along that tube in the center, there's a little clip. So it, of course, rocks off like this, and then you can disengage it. So, and there's the internal workings. So you also see the hot plate on the bottom for the heat and humidity section. That mates up with the hot plate in the humidifier, and this end is open. This is where you're now. Like I said, this is the output of the flow generator. It outputs here, and then you're filling the chamber, and then it's actually going out of this top. Okay, so when this is assembled, what you have is input on the back side, output through the top section. Okay, this is what I was saying about the elbow having a pretty big seal in it. It's difficult to actually swivel around because of it. That seal fits right down in this lip, and when the top comes down, you're actually sealing right onto it. That's what produces it. So, anything else about the humidity chamber? I've seen them on the shaker tables and them rolling around. It's definitely, even though it's, has new technology and everything, and I mean, with the exit point up here at the very top of that unit, as opposed to, let's see, this was the intake, that was the exit. Pappy doesn't remember that one. But as opposed to having these right here where you push it in and then the water can slosh out back into the machine on the M's, you'd get faults with it. I've heard of some horror stories with the autoflexes, where the water got back into the motor, caused a fault, and caused a malfunction. There was an error code on the M's for that, so if you ever really shook the thing around, you probably got familiar with that error code. This is this is a nice unit. Holds a lot, not that many gripes about it. So let me bring the full unit back here, and we'll insert it like so, and you hear it, make the final seal, be able to close it right back down. Okay, and there we have it reassembled. Now, to get these two pieces apart, if you're traveling and you feel you're going to be in a nice humidified area, you aren't going to need your humidification unit. If you just want to save space, you don't want to carry liquid, anything like that, there's a pretty easy way to break this apart. Now, the M's were always a little bit difficult for me to get apart, and it took a special touch if you did it all the time. This isn't quite as difficult. So if you look, this, of course, is your humidification unit. On the outer edge, there's this little wonder bar. So when you actually give this a pull, what it's going to do is it's going to release the unit to open up. Here we go. And it just breaks right in half. I tend to use a little bit of torque on it, put it in a V, and it comes right apart. So to give you the, here's the air inlet. Like I said, the air comes in, it makes a 90-degree turn. Let me give you, get the humidity chamber out of it, or the water chamber out of it. So when you open this up, You can see this is the seal I was talking about for the outlet. So yeah, see how it corresponds, pretty perfectly with this. Get a focus on there. There we go. So that's the seal that seals to the top of the chamber. Okay, and here is the seal that seals to the back of the chamber. Okay, and then if you watch Pappy's finger go through right there, it just comes in here. Got a double seal. Comes in for the outlet on the inside, and that's all the internal workings. Actually, there's one more internal working. You can barely see it, mainly because of the lighting in here. Where I'm pushing down, it's the hot plate. It feels a little bit spring-loaded, so I don't know what that's about. I never thought it would need to be spring-loaded. Maybe it's to get some air in there, in case you do dribble some water and let it vent out. I don't know what the story is behind that, but so turn it on. All right, so here's the cover plate. This is for the right side. If the unit was together, it'd be the far side. There is another cover plate that will cover this side of the flow generator when you have it disassembled. It's one of the things that I think I missed that in the packaging too. So back to here, you see this little connection. Now, if you're familiar with the M's, the previous unit that this really replaced, you were required to plug the power cable in here, and then there was another little jumper that went over to your humidification unit. They've eliminated that by putting, and the male end is on the that humidification unit itself. So if you're going to leave this at home, and that's the reason why you're taking it apart, you don't have to worry about whacking this thing. Okay, so the other thing I want to show you is this. Watch the function. Now I'm back here pulling on the release with my thumb, and what you're seeing is this whole plate slides up. So that was pretty neat. Hey, I pull out and it actually pulls up. So that was a pretty good little mechanical thing there. Hopefully it won't prove to be a weakness in the future. These are the clips that clip the unit together, and we're going to set that part of it aside. So here we are to the flow generator side, and this is the side that would clip onto your humidification unit. You see it has little brackets here. That's where it catches. When you pull that, it pops it up, and then it allows you to pull it out. So this would be your standard. This would be your hose access point when you're running the unit without the humidifier. And here's the female plug of that. And like I said before, there's another cover. It looks a lot like this. I saw it in the instructions that covers this area, of course, with a cutout here. It would just cover the power section altogether, and then you'd have a flush unit with only a little bit of a hose access sticking out. So when we go to the front of the flow generator, and I covered this a little bit, but here you have your button and wheel combination. So it'll allow you to scroll through the memories, scroll through. Pappy's got tongue-tied. Scroll through the menus on the front. To access those, you hit that particular one is the setup menu. So it goes there and it allows you to wheel through those. That's really all the further I'm going to get with. Go back here, push the button again. That's all the further I'm going to get with the menus. We're going to do an entire section just on the menus because, hey, the menus they're really important. It's the heart of the machine, but we're going to cover those in depth. One thing I will say is this will turn the therapy on for a second, so excuse the air. But listen to the D10 of this. So it's got a pretty good D10. Now a D10 is the what you feel or the sound that's generated when you push a button. So this right here, it also it has stops on it. So every time you turn it, you'll be able to feel it. I found that this is really good in bed at night if I want to turn up my humidifier. It's not a smooth dial. It actually has a every time you turn it, you can feel it reach the next stop. That's good because hey, I remember if I went to bed on 3. And I wanted to turn up to 4 or 5, then to get to 5, it's just 1, 2, or 3, 4. But that's it's a nice feature on the wheel. They've kept things pretty simple. There's only 2 buttons on the front. This of course is your ramp button to start, and then also you have your your main therapy button, therapy start, stop, and then during the night when this is hooked to the humidifier, this will select those humidification menus.